What am I underwater? So we're back. I'm the host of this illustrious Artist Exchange Radio show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate. Oh, fix my camera. Uh, I'm I'm gonna have to hire somebody to just fix the lights because this is crazy. So I am your host, Nate Couser, host of this Artist Exchange Radio show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I can tell the time has already changed. Oh, the day is just not the day. I thought one more day of this whatchamacallit, this Mercury retrograde, whatever you call it. It's too much going on. Everything is just out of sorts, out of whack. Ugh, just just get me out of here, Lord. Just help me get through this last day of Mercury retrograde and such. Well, you know what? That's what it's gonna be, because I'm not gonna kill myself. Hey, how you doing? I know that was a rough start, but I'm your host, Nate Couser, of this illustrious Artist Exchange Radio show. Today we have a special guest. We'll be talking to Miss Christine Flowers. She's a homeless advocate. She does a lot of political activism and um, um, she responds to a lot of the issues in the city and beyond, that is surrounding homelessness, and just outright fair treatment of people. Um, I'm waiting for her to one day put her bid in for mayor of the city, because she does make uh, a lot of noise when she is um, working on her projects. Uh, just trying to share the century. I think this election has been a whirlwind of crazy and um, racism and disrespect and just wackiness all across the board. And we have one more day of this, and I'm very proud of the record breaking numbers of people who have come out to do early voting, mail in ballots. And I'm quite sure tomorrow is going to be another whole swoon of individuals um, that are voting. Question: was the what you call it? Was the voting locations open on Saturday and Sunday, or was that just in other states? But I'm very proud of everybody who has gotten out and voted, no matter how you vote. I hope you voted for Biden for president, and here in our local election, we are. Um, Even though I already cast my vote, I'm still a little woozy as to who I'm going to actually vote for, and I am. Um, that didn't come out right. I'm still on the fence as to who I really want to be mayor of our city. I'm just all over the place. This has been the first year I believe I've been affected by this Mercury retrograde. And when I say communication, just trying to communicate, everything has gotten out of whack and out of sorts with individuals. Things are often misunderstood, and I've tried to not talk to people as much as I had been, only because this moment is I've clearly seen just a lapse of communication, and yeah, so that's what it is. So yeah, so we're gonna have Miss Christine on today. We're gonna talk a little bit about what she does for the city of Baltimore and beyond. She's just coming back from a trip from Nigeria, where they were. She was showing us lives where in the street you could see a lot of chaos going on, and she was reporting on a lot of the chaos that has been going on in Nigeria. recently. She's been there for a couple weeks. So we'll hear a little bit about that, her future plans for her organization, and how we, the community, can continue to help her with her crusade and kind of eliminating homelessness. Um, I'm ready for Wednesday to be here. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow and all the crazy that is going to happen from our current occupants of 1200 Pennsylvania Avenue,
1600.
Washington D.C. But
1600.
I'm ready for it to be over. I
1600.
think. Go ahead.
1600.
1600. Why did I say 1200? What's 1200 Pennsylvania Avenue? Oh, you know what? That's a school. That's a school. And here. But 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm ready for this to be over. I think we've dealt with between this election, the president, and this pandemic. I think all of that together is just too much. Um, and I'm ready for it to be over. Um, I'm just ready. I'm just tired of talking about it. I know when you got to be positive. When Biden wins the presidency, um, it's we're going to be back where we were when Obama first got in office, and the amount of cleanup um, that will have to happen is, I know, tremendous, and a lot of us are going to be uh, feeling it right off the back. And I'm quite sure everything that I said Obama, Biden has planned for this country will have to kind of either sit to the side while he's cleaning up a lot of foolishness, and he gets the same bad press that Obama got for having to clean up everything before he can actually even do his job as president based on what he had planned to do with this country. I'm praying that our House and Senate are flipped, and that we get the representation we need to turn this country back around. And I want it to be done in a way where people aren't, even on the other side, aren't slighted, as in terms of how I felt Democrats and all the people who wasn't for Trump were slighted in this election. I can't do this no more. This was hurting my head. Um, but yeah, so it's been a lot. I feel like it did shake my head. But yeah, I'm ready for this to be um, a past conversation. I know even when this is over, because he's going to be a Looney Tune for the next week or so. I know he is, and probably beyond that when he loses. I know we're not going to hear the last of it. This is divisiveness that we've been seeing from him, as in, trying to trick the American public into believing that ballots have to be counted the day of, by midnight, the day of the election, and it's illegal and all that, to still be counting ballots after the fact. He's not going to want to. He's not going to concede. I just know he's not. He's going to want a lawsuit. He's going to want, and all of this will be on the dime of the American public. All of this, the country is going to have to pay for it, not Trump at all. And I'm just, I just want the powers to be to make him and force him to do his job and return the dignity to that office. And we haven't had the best legacy of presidents, but we've had a few that have kind of given us an image of what that office is supposed to be like. Um, and all the slack that Obama gets, I think he, since I've known presidents, and I think I was born into Bush's, was it Bush or Reagan? It was either Bush or Reagan. Um, and I haven't seen a president that has been to the caliber of Obama in terms of representing us. And I don't know, I'm just exhausted. Like, I really feel exhausted. I did a couple podcasts over the weekend, and that was the top of the conversation in both of the well, all three of the shows that I did, and it was exhausting because on two of the shows there was representation from both sides of voting, and even the undecideds and the green parties and such. It was somebody that was represented from each one of those facets, and it was very exhausting to hear people defend his policies, his stance on many controversial issues. We talked a lot about this new Supreme Court justice that has been sworn in, and how his side will fight against Biden adding new justices um, to the Supreme Court, and it was just very negative. And someone who works with the young lady who was running from Kwasi Fume's seat, I never know her name. Somebody from her team was represented that this weekend, and just to hear how this person who was representing her spoke about Baltimore City, never had lived here. This person isn't from here, doesn't currently live here, currently lives in another county, and is actually new to Maryland. Hearing how this person speaks about Baltimore City from a hearsay third, fourth, fifth party um, is ridiculous to me. How someone like her can even run and be allowed to run for an office in a city that she does not respect is above me. And her whole message has been she'll respect this city when she is in control of it, or she wins her seat. And even then, she won't even have um, a real connection to the city, because this is the same seat that um, Elijah Cummings had. So she'll be mostly in DC working, and it is really sad that we are yet again faced with leaders who don't respect us. This all the ads that she's done, and all the propaganda that she's pushed, and many of the people who are um, um, supporting Trump in their various candidacies. It really is sad to it's sad to be sad to hear them, sad the fact that we have these individuals that can possibly be in leadership. I believe Kwasi and Fume will absolutely win. I'm very confident at that. I'm very confident that Biden is going to win. I'm very confident that this country will be able to return to its normal state. But I don't know what full damage. None of us really know the full extent of the damage that Trump has done to this country so far. I know he's been writing some very, very detrimental executive orders that will be tough in terms of who it affects, and harmful rather, to whom it will affect. And I'm worried. I'm worried about where this country is going to go. I'm worried about where what does this mean for our country? Oh, this is dark. I hate this, how dark it is. Um, Time has falling back, so we are getting dark sooner than normal. Um, and it looks like that. My lights are not. I don't know what's going on today. Today is just, and I got a lot of sleep. this weekend. I got my rest, my normal rest this weekend. Um, but yeah, maybe I'm gonna do some stories. Let me share this out a little bit before I start doing that. I'm really just I don't know. I don't know why. Um, I really don't know why or what's going on right now, but I know I just feel exhausted, and I was in so many. My spirits were so lifted this weekend because I tried and I really focused on just raising my energy. I had watched the last couple of shows that I did, and I spoke a lot about where I was energy wise and emotionally, and I didn't want to stay in that space. I wanted to get up out of that space and be somewhere different, somewhere in a beneficial place to me and the people that I'm coming across, and feeling like I'm being locked in. I didn't want to continue that. But today, just thinking about what's going to happen in 24 hours, less than 24 hours now, and what does that mean for the country? Either way it goes, like, what does that mean? How will we uh, kick get back to where we were? Like, it's never going to be normal and completely 100%. I don't even think we will be 75% to where we were prior to 4 years ago, and 7.5 months ago. I'm That's the part that is stressing, because I remember when Obama first got here, and there was so much he was cleaning up from Bush Jr. And I just remember where we were. It was a little tight for people. It was a little stressful those first 4 years, and getting him um, as he began to clean up a mess and be in the midst of a war and an economic recession and all those things that were piling up. Um, and I did a PSA for a station this weekend, and I it basically just stated, get out and vote. It is our civic responsibility. We owe it to our children, our families, our communities, our environment, that is falling down around us right now, because the powers that be don't believe in climate change, doesn't believe in Black communities, doesn't believe in the Black family structure. And I have to be a voter from that perspective, because I see we are one of the targets of his foolishness and shenanigans. And in that PSA, I mentioned that it is, there are 1,001 reasons for us to vote, but we have to think about our families and our communities and our environment, and look back even further than that. Our ancestors who died, struggled, and fought for our rights to vote, for us to have a voice. This phrase kept on popping in my head: your voice, your vote, your vote, your voice, your vote, your voice, your vote, your voice. And it, like, I kept seeing it places, and I kept hearing it, like, and just mentally it just kept going through my mind. And we have to set aside a lot of the ignorance that we have as Black Americans, and really understand the battle that is being fought for us to stay ignorant. And they love when we are invested and engulfed and drowning in ignorance and propaganda, and these conspiracy theories. They love when we're in that purple haze of I said purple haze. They love when we're in that haze of trying to um, defend, how things are, and religion and politics. They love when we're in that state, especially of division. They love when we're divided, and when we are creating fires and destroying, our unity. Um, they love that. And this campaign for the last 2 years or so has been in that area for the last 4 years. His presidency in general, even before he accepted it, he was adding fuel to the fire, and it really is stressful to be in a space where people still are choosing to follow him and uplift him for what they think he's done positively. Now, I can say this weekend, one of the young ladies raised some points. He is what he is doing is playing to our fears and the things that have been a distraction for us. He's playing to that, and he is in a space where he is doing things that we have wanted to be done in terms of our politics, in terms of breaking down the structures of government and redefining it. But what he isn't doing is redefining it. He's tearing everything apart with no plan and no strategy and no way out of it. So he wants to dismantle the FBI and the CDC and all these things with no plan in place to replace them. And that's the scary part for me. So, I don't know when his power officially stops, but I'm really worried about the destruction that he's going to do, knowing that he is not going to be returning come 2021. And I am really I don't know. I really don't know what this country is going to look like in 4 years of the next presidency, in 8 years, hopefully, of Biden's presidency. I don't know who would be next. Who would possibly be next? And he's allowed people to feel that you don't need any experience in government or policy or um, just a day-to-day civic knowledge of how to run a country, how to carry yourself diplomatically. Uh, he's allowed people to feel that anybody can do it, and I believe a lot of us can. I think a lot of people are qualified for that, not the majority, um, not every single person, because I don't believe that that's every single person's mission in life. But I do believe uh, it's interesting because for the last maybe 5 or 6 years, there's been a strong attack on Christianity and the church system in general, specifically the Black church. There's been a
Hello.
hey,
Hi.
how are you? I was just going
Hi.
on my soapbox. How you doing today, Miss Flowers?
I think I'm on correctly.
You are on correctly.
Ah,
You good? Oh, there we go.
yes. Hello.
How you
Wow,
doing?
great evening, great evening, great evening. I am so excited. I thank you guys even for allowing me to come in even later than start, but
You
I'm
good?
excited to be on. And how are you guys this evening?
I am great. I'm the host of the show, Nate. I've been wanting to have you on this show for a very long time. I first saw you
Wow.
going off on someone down off of Gay Street where our studios are. And there were some city officials they were doing like a press conference. And our studio is right across the street from City Hall. So
Mm-hmm.
we were down. We always go down there when there's big news to have happen. And I just heard you going off, and you weren't even on the panel, but you were going off, and that made me start following you on social media. And I see
Wow.
that you've been setting fires since then. And that was, I've been with this station for about 7 years now, and I think it's been almost that long. So I just saw you
Wow.
always, and that area is heavy with homelessness. We're right under
Yes.
by Gay
Yes.
Street,
Yes.
under
Yes.
83. So
Yes.
I've seen you a lot, and I've never known what I could do. And I think we met briefly. I'm a theater actor, and now a theater company that I belong to, we did a play based on this one gentleman's life story. And you were one of the
Okay.
people that came around for that. And I wanted to speak to you then because I try to stay in my lane. So I'm not going to try to
Wow.
be Christine Flowers and go set flyers, and that's not really my day-to-day work. So I've always been interested into, beyond me just giving somebody a dollar when they ask for it, or
Yes, yes.
uh, even up until recently when you first got home, the gentleman that you found on 25th and Charles, which is my neighborhood. So I'm
Mr. Murray.
behind. I'm behind where you all are when you all are doing your church services and such. So I
Wow.
be on my balcony watching and listening. But but again,
Wow.
and I guess the question that I'll give to you, and you can answer that any way you want to. What can the average? I'm gonna just jump right into it. What can the average citizen do to eradicate homelessness other than call the police and call their city officials to get people from in front of their businesses? That was a pointed statement, by the way, but yeah.
Well, I thank you for having me on. And,
Hmm.
one of the biggest things that we as a people can do in Baltimore City to really recognize our street homeless individuals is
Hmm.
really to empower the voices. And I
Okay.
say empower the voices because right here is empowering to my voice. So I thank you.
Hmm.
And a lot of times, just like I tell people when it comes to homelessness, it's not that people don't want to help. A lot of people don't know where to begin.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when we're looking at a population of individuals that deals with mental illness, substance abuse, even severe health issues, sleeping on the streets of Baltimore City, we
Right.
have to empower the voices.
Hmm. Hmm.
It don't have to be your lane to be a Christina Flowers or humanitarian or everything she talk about is homelessness. But you may have that gift or that talent that can empower my voice,
Hmm.
give it an opportunity to be heard so that we can know that we do have a vulnerable population of individuals that are dying on the streets of Baltimore City.
Hmm.
We've, we've lost at least three street homeless individuals in the past 3 weeks. And
Right.
that's not something that's being broadcast, but these are people lives.
Right. Right.
These are not just individual lives that had an opportunity or a chance to do the day-to-day average stuff. These individuals were sleeping under bridges,
Hmm.
sleeping on the streets, sleeping in places where, the conditions of their health, or if they freeze to death or they drink
Right.
themselves to death, they are forced into conditions that again, we see. We ride by, we see them there, we
Uh-huh.
recognize them, and just like when you was just speaking about Mr. Murray, I had just got home and I'm like, who's sleeping there? Somebody's right on my block,
Right.
because my
Right.
office is right there. So,
Hmm.
the next thing I just wanted to engage him because I just knew he'd been there for a minute. And it was like, wow, like what is the big
Hmm.
story with him? But when you think about engaging, that is step one to dealing with our homeless individuals, because a lot of times we can want to provide them services, or we can want to just be a band-aid over that issue that they're dealing with, and we
Right.
never take the time to engage them. And it,
Hmm.
it was just interesting. Saturday, all he wanted was his clothes washed and dried. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, look, I said, look, we got a room. He said, no, I don't want a room. I want a whole house because I'm a veteran and I fought for this country.
Oh, wow.
And somewhere in his mind, I couldn't debate or argue with him or made him feel like he was worthless because he said that,
Hmm.
because I agree with him. He's a veteran, he fought for our country, and some things it just should come as a privilege or just because you did that. So, so you're dealing with now the mental illness capacity that has this individual to the point where you can't even go there and offer him a room because he feels so traumatized of his entitlements. He like, look, I don't want no room, lady. I want a whole house. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Hmm.
We go ahead to talk about that one, but let me go wash your clothes and
Right.
get them dry.
Right. And this is in actually in our building where our station is, right there on Lexington
Yes.
across from. There's a group that handles veterans affairs outside of the
Yes.
VA, and I learned a lot
Mhm.
about homelessness in terms of veterans and the services that are
Yes.
out there and the services that are normally hidden from them in terms of how they acclimate themselves to the world, and,
And
and
that's
and
why
coming back.
engaging is so important because you
Hmm.
just said a key component there. A lot of services that are not accessible for them
Hmm.
is due to the fact that enough of us is not engaging them. Like
Right.
we want to feed them, we want to give them clothes, we want to just ride by them and give them $1. But sometimes you got to be able to engage them so that you can learn to understand what are the things that have them in that position that they are in. So
What I
sometimes it
like
takes
about
time.
Right.
Hmm.
What I like about your organization and the work that you do, you're not in an office waiting for them to come to you or wait for somebody to refer them to you while
Oh
you're
no.
collecting funds off of the services that they're needing. You're actually out there. I don't think I
Mhm.
rarely see you in the home that you have designated for the men, or the the place that you have right here on Charles and 26th Street. Like I rarely see you out of those places. Normally you're in your car and you're driving around, engaging, not sitting up in the office.
Engaging.
And
You gotta
right,
be.
right.
You
And I've
gotta.
done a lot of
You gotta
volunteer
be.
work, and that was always a question that I have at the Franciscan Center, or they're all upstairs in an office somewhere. And I'm like, well, the people aren't they out who oh, so we're waiting for them to be able to find us.
Yeah, you
But
gotta.
what about a gentleman like him who is a block from you and a block from the Franciscan place
Right.
and a
And
block
he
from a
not here.
mental health
Yeah.
organization, but everybody is in their office and
Yeah.
not, nobody thought to say, well, let me go out there and clean his clothes and get him a bucket. I know somebody gave him a bucket because he was just sitting out there, and he's been out there in this cold and this rain. Before it got cold and rainy, he's been out there. So I was wondering, with all these facilities around here, why hasn't somebody come out and say, hey, this is what we offer, this is what we can help you with, and while you're getting what you need, this is what we can offer you. But I don't ever see that. But I wanted to ask you that question first off, because I think that's the boundary that many of us have. Like, what do we do? Me, the average Joe, I'm an artist, I'm an educator.
Hmm.
What can I contribute to this? But can you tell us a little bit about how you got to this point, or when did you become the mayor of the homeless population in Baltimore?
Well, Nate, I tell everybody I started doing assisted living in 2000. I always had a desire to do my own assisted living facility. So that's basically where I started at when I came out of the mental health field, the therapeutic field, the
Hmm.
CNA, the GNA. I just
Hmm.
started my own assisted livings. And basically, the type of assisted livings I was running was for a lot of low income individuals. Um,
Okay.
then that took me to the point of actually March 7th, 2013. I went to my first encampment on Madison and Fallsway where the individuals was in front of the jailhouse. And they
Hmm.
were there for like 5 years. Like they wasn't just there overnight. It wasn't just there for the weekend. These individuals were there for 5 years.
Hmm.
And at that point in time, Nate, I think that's when God said, your purpose is going to be a different population than what you're used to. He
Hmm.
just had a total different spin on my life for working with this population. And that's basically when I got started in Baltimore City, really advocating for the homeless individuals. And that was March 7th, 2013. I never forget the day because it was like, it was an uproar. Like I'd never been to City Hall. I never engaged the
Hmm.
political circle before. I wasn't familiar with that population of people. So it was like, why these people outside? Like, I can help y'all. Y'all need houses, what you need to do. So
Mm-hmm.
basically that took me on this now almost 8 years of a path of advocating and building a voice. And I'm gonna say building a voice because we're not all going to speak the same language when it comes to understanding that this is inhumane. It
Right.
is it is it is inhumane for us to see an individual to sit on a corner and, like you say, he have in his mind that he want certain things, and
Right.
maybe you have to accommodate that, with making him feel like, look, let's do this. You'll be in a private setting because he's been traumatized before. He been in
Mm-hmm.
somebody's house and something happened. He spoke about that to me. So basically, it's like you got to have an out of the box solution.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to fit. He's not going to fit the basic protocol or the basic policy for why he could come into this program. You're going to have to
A lot of them
you're going to have
have,
to develop stuff.
but how does your organization address what are the holistic and 365 things that you offer to
I
them
think
instead?
one of the things that we offer is housing first.
Okay.
We have been able to take individuals out of some of their homeless situations with housing first. And when I say housing first, we're talking room rentals, we're talking emergency housing. If we have an individual and we have a space and we're able to work with that individual, you can't carry people through certain type of when people are already traumatized, they're already going through so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
You really just got to show them, look, come on, this your room. Make them feel like their comfort zone matter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they can come into an environment where they're not overflooded with their day-to-day issues. So basically,
Right.
housing first has been something that we have been able to implement because of some of the relationships that we have established over the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that our city officials fail to realize. They don't find the good in the hood. They don't
Mm-hmm.
find the things in the hood that is already working and that is doing what can be a solution. It's like solutions and the government and the political parties don't all go together.
Right.
Like if you
Right.
if you pushing for a solution too much, you even are pushing against them, or they feel like you're the enemy, or they feel like something. But
Mm-hmm.
when you know it's a solution for something, and if you know it's something that can prevent people from dying, you're going to push that issue.
one of the
Another
one of the
another
biggest
person
issues
don't
that
have to die.
I see you fighting hard for, and this is a term that I heard somewhere, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense. But corporate
Mhm.
homeless
Mm,
organizations.
mm,
The
mm.
idea that you can have a healthcare for the homeless and such. Yet,
Why you trying to get me in trouble? I
I'm
just
but
got
I'm
home.
saying that's why I'm gonna say it out my mouth. I'm gonna say it out my mouth because I'm not scared of them. I know who a lot of them, a
Why
lot
you
of them
trying to get me
are.
in trouble? Why you trying to get me in trouble? I
But I
just
mean,
got
just
home.
but just the idea that we can have a corporate structure like that when we
Well,
and that's
it's
where the
like
money gets funneled to.
it's like corporate racism. It's like
Right.
corporate discrimination. And what
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about, we as black organizations, nonprofits, need to look at the layout of where does our funding pool goes at, even in a city like Baltimore. You're talking about your Catholic Charities, your United Way, your healthcare to homeless. You're talking billions of dollars in organizations, but
Mm-hmm.
yet you can't get one man off a street corner from dying or freezing to death. So what
Right.
you're talking about is a lot of the racism and the discrimination within these white established organizations that, again, instead of them looking at the opportunity to partner, to mentor, to guide smaller organizations, they have pretty much
Mm-hmm.
dominated
Right.
that interfaith piece. Like you don't see a lot of black churches or black establishments working with homeless individuals. They
Right.
have pretty much said, "Oh, that's a Catholic charity issue."
Mm.
No, that's the black church on the corner issue. That's the black church down the street issue, especially when homelessness is in every 14 districts in this city.
Right.
They're on
Right.
bus stops. They're in doorways.
Mm-hmm.
You have higher volume of homelessness in certain districts, but on any given day in Baltimore City, we're looking at anywhere from 35 to 4,500 homeless individuals. That's sheltered and unsheltered.
Mm.
This number is growing now during a pandemic when they're telling us that our safety, everything matters when we use, social distance and the mask, but then it's a population of individuals that are able to sleep outside.
Right. Right. One of the things. So
So
what ended up happening for me, what that kind of outside of knowing you and well seeing you on social media, the play that I did, we got to speak to the gentleman. I just pulled up his name, Anthony Williams. He inspired
yes.
the play, and based on his journals, they wrote a play about him. And
Okay.
we learned so much about him because he was free to come to every rehearsal we have and bring
Mhm.
with him many of the individuals who I had seen around Baltimore and didn't even realize that they were homeless. The
Yes.
people that they call the flying Africans or
Hmm.
individuals that represent different avenues and different sections of the city in homelessness. And this play took place on Howard Street, and I didn't realize many of those abandoned buildings became homes for many of the homeless people. But one of the
Okay.
things that he shared with me is many of the people out on the street don't want the help from organizations because they've been used and abused and mistreated and then thrown to the side when the cameras are go away. And so many of them don't want the help. Mentally, many of them can't receive it. But many
They've
of
been
them,
traumatized.
yes, many and
A
used.
lot of them are experiencing, a lot of our homeless population are experiencing trauma.
Hmm.
And some of the ways they express their trauma is even avoiding the services that really could be helpful for them, but the
Hmm.
services themselves have 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 utilized things like exploiting services, billing people insurances, utilize. I always tell people, like, how can you make sure a person come in and get their methadone or get their needle or get their medication, but they
Hmm.
leave out and go to the woods or leave out and go to the streets or leave out and go
Hmm.
live under the bridges? Like, how effective of services are you giving them
Right.
if they don't have a stable roof over their head to go and even be able to manage their diabetes, their high blood pressure? They
Mm.
can't manage their own health issues, but yet, you as an organization can be billing and making millions of dollars off the fact that they live in a tent in the woods.
Well, they
So
don't
you
even
gotta.
care about that. That's just
Mhm.
something that they may have, to ask them a question on a questionnaire. But that's their services don't go that far.
And
Like that's where it stops.
you said it best. They do a lot when cameras are around, and soon as
Hmm.
the cameras go away. And the biggest time that has always been obvious in Baltimore City, even when you find times when you see homeless people in Annapolis and organizations have, made everything available for them to make it to Annapolis to speak for them or to say things for them. Then once the camera goes away, you go it back under your bridge, you go it back in the woods,
Hmm.
you go it back in that doorway. So again, you're right. Like, it's a big factor that exploitation is a real problem
Hmm.
in our city when it comes to homelessness.
I remember getting to interview B. Gaddy when I was, I want to say that was
Wow.
when she ran for office. And I was really
Wow.
young, and I was just asking her young questions. And I remember one of the responses she gave to me was, "If you want to do something, if you want to make a difference, start with yourself. Just get out
Yeah.
there and do it. And if they
Yep.
pick up on it, then
Get
they
out
pick
there
up
and
on
do
it.
it.
But don't wait for some big conglomerate to come save you or sponsor your
Hmm.
activism. Just get out there and do it." That's
Nope.
one of the things that I really appreciate about you, because you go beyond grassroots, and you just go right to your social media. If when you needed, some coins to,
Yep.
wash the
Yep.
clothes, just go right
Yep.
to it and get that accomplished.
Let's
Because
get this done.
I see a lot of, and I'm on the education slash art side of the nonprofits, but what people don't even realize in this city is the capital of nonprofits. People come from other cities, other states
Wow.
to study how we create nonprofits, and they take it back to their cities. But yet,
Wow.
we still have a lot of nonprofits that sit up in their office and wait for people to be referred to them, and they have little to no engagement or plan to engagement. Their engagement is about the people who are constantly giving them money, but not the people who are
No, well,
requiring
you
the
know what?
services.
And just like I said at the beginning, you know, we have to be ones to know how to empower others.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody got a different lane to be in sometime.
Right.
Everybody have different things that they're passionate about. But even as a homeless advocate, I love my city. I'm concerned about 3 and 4 shootings a day. I'm
Right.
concerned about ineffective people being in office. I'm concerned about people being in office for so long and haven't done nothing in the amount of time that we
Hmm.
have been here. So
Right.
some of the concerns are great, but we have to know as a people, we have to constantly push until we understand that it's strength in numbers.
Mm.
And once we put our numbers in a place to where individuals will take notice that we're not looking for a handout. We're not looking for people to take care of us as a black community.
Right.
We're not looking to run around and say Black Lives Matter. Because I
Mm.
feel like Black Lives Matter, but we all deserve to live. And
Hmm.
sometimes we have to stop adopting some of the governmental slogans that come on our trauma. We
Mm.
can say Black Lives Matter, but we shooting 3 or 4 black people a day around here in Baltimore City.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
we got to be very mindful as a people. How long of a spoon do we allow people to feed us from?
Hmm.
And if they feeding us something in our mind constantly, I was sitting in Nigeria, and we were stuck in a building because we were there during the protests of End SARS,
Yes.
which is police brutality.
So we're going. I'm gonna come back to what your work is here, but
Mhm.
I was following a lot of the lives you were doing recently
Mhm.
from your trip over to Nigeria. Can
Yeah.
you explain to us that are just getting the same 30-second narrative on the news? How is it there, like living there right now?
I just tell everybody, if it's something that you never saw face to face, and even as a homeless advocate here in Baltimore City, I see trauma every day.
Mm-hmm.
I see what trauma does to people every day. So in Nigeria, it goes at a deeper level of poverty, even when children
Yeah.
can't access education or food. You have a whole different mindset in a place where, I told him the other day, I said, how you gonna put an airport in the village and they can't even get on a plane? It's like you sitting there watching a plane take off and you can't even get on it.
Mm.
So it was a mindset of young adults that really was willing to die for their freedom. They were willing. They were dying. It was just crazy over there. And it was
Right.
like, it was like looking at something in a time warp, because I'm like, wow, even in Baltimore City, it's like we have opportunities. We got 911. When you see an accident in
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria, ain't no ambulance coming. Whoever coming out that car behind you or coming to help you, that's your 911.
And
Whoever
I
gonna
think
throw
people
you in
don't
the back
realize
seat.
that outside of
Yeah.
the United States, there is no 911. There's no 311 for you to be able to reach out for
Yeah.
help.
Ain't no 911. You the 911.
Right,
I'm
right.
sitting there talking about call 911. No, you better go grab your shirt, take your shirt off, wrap around the legs. If you see blood, it's like we got to learn to be each other lifesavers.
Mm,
That's what it really taught me over there. Like, wow, even if you open that door to that car and it's somebody you don't like or it's somebody you have issues with, would you be willing to save their life?
yeah, yeah. You
You
were there.
know,
It was some of your lives where we could hear gunfire. We can hear a little
I
bit of
was in
chaos.
it.
Right.
I was
It was
in
one. I think you were sitting in. It looked like you were in a cab or something, and there was gunfire going on, and
it.
I
Yeah.
I couldn't I couldn't imagine
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
that at your door front. Like we hear about it, but we don't have to necessarily be in it here in the
It
United
was
States.
it was definitely a CNN moment around there
Mm-hmm.
with the
Mm-hmm.
gunfires and the fire. It was a CNN moment. I'm just
Yeah.
so grateful to God that, I know He had me there for a reason. It was an experience that I will never forget, but I will also remember the faces of the generation that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if we don't see our younger generation worth us fighting for and sacrificing for, then why anybody ever said it takes a village to raise a child?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If it takes a village to raise one, then we need to be a village and an army.
And one of the things that I'm noticing, even around the world,
Hmm.
gentrification seems to be kind of stepping in and destroying a lot of progress and a lot of things that could be advanced even more. And I know for you, that's a big problem. I remember messaging you one day because there was an incident in my neighborhood where some homeless people had gotten into it with some business owners. And I didn't necessarily like how, and I don't, living in this Charles Village area, I
Hmm.
don't like how business owners police citizens in
Hmm.
a way where it's not respectful. And
Yep.
because you own a business or own a home or rent or whatever, it does not give you leeway to speak to another human being so inhumanely that don't have
Yes.
anywhere else to go. And I remember
Exactly.
messaging you, and you were there instantly. And
Mhm.
I I didn't even we've never even physically met in person before. So
Wow.
we can't call the police and get that type of turnaround service. So it really like and I didn't know who else to handle that issue. But I know if I had went down there, it would have been a different situation, and I'd have probably brought more
Yeah.
trauma to it because I just didn't like how people were being addressed, and
Yes.
people fail to
Yes.
realize nobody
Hmm.
wants to be homeless. Nobody is born and be
Yes.
like, you know what, I'm gonna spend the rest of my
I'm
life
gonna spend the rest.
sleeping on the
Yes.
sidewalk. Nobody
Yep.
wants that. So when we treat people like they asked for it or they're choosing it,
Yeah.
um, it really does something to me. And without getting into that specific issue, I know that happens to you a lot, where you're
A
called
lot.
to put out a fire that somebody who has no experience has set. Um,
Nate, I'm glad you said that because, just in closing, if it's time,
mhm,
one of the things that the Real Care Providers, which is my organization, we have submitted a proposal to everyone in City Hall, practically all 14 council people, because
mhm,
we spend a lot of money on consultants in the city of Baltimore. We
right.
fly people from all over the world to come and tell different agencies how to operate and what to do. Well, one
Mhm,
of the things when we put in writing to be a consultant, even for homeless services, We even want to consult with other agencies like our Baltimore City Police Department. And one of the things you're talking about that day, the outcome, we end up getting the individuals and I took them and worked with them. Like, we have to make sure we're willing to put things in place to save people's lives again, because our
Mm-hmm.
police department and other agencies don't always know how to engage homeless people. It's
Right.
really not their forte.
Yeah.
They feel like that, well, who else can deal with this other than us, than two manicky
But
homeless
when
people.
they lock them up and eventually set them free, they still homeless.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why it's real important, again, that we empower voices in Baltimore City, because we have to start being able to make peaceful demands. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
even if we got to start making the type of demands like, look, we willing to work with agencies, we willing to work with organizations, because you're right. You should have somebody to call that can diffuse a killing or tasing or something worse to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It should be someone to call to do that.
Right.
So again, I'm just real grateful, just for this opportunity here,
Mm-hmm.
but also for the opportunity to put it out there to give us something to think about, because this is a real critical season for our homeless individuals.
Uh-huh.
The weather is getting worse, and it's time that, again, we really recognize that there are solutions in Baltimore City for homelessness. We just have to remove the bureaucratic parts of it
Mm-hmm.
that say no, do this, do that, or what they can do.
Can you tell us what do you need in terms of resources or donations or volunteers or organizations? What are some of the things that you can use right now for your organization or organizations that you know of?
Oh, right now we constantly take donations of winter supplies, hats, coats. We always taking things clean, neat, that we can be able to equip those. When we're out there doing outreach, we can give them blankets, we can give them gloves. We're always in need of those items. We're always in need of volunteers. Like you said, my office is in Charles Village, 2524 North Charles Street.
Right next
We
to the
are
bank.
reachable by phone. Um, right next to the bank. We are there. You could call 410 365 5567. We are in need of supplies when it comes to dealing with our street homeless individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't closed for the coronavirus. We haven't had that privilege to shut our program down. So we're always there, washing clothes, laundry detergent, whatever it is that individuals want to be able to support us with. We also have a website, www.helpbaltimoreshomeless.org. We also have a Cash App, $ Real Care Network. That's Real Care Network, our network of individuals that constantly help us to work with the street homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just to build as voices, we got to build together. So, we need
Mm-hmm.
the type of partnerships that can help us expand housing. We need housing. We need to be able to house these individuals and be able to subsidize them at least 90 days sometimes. Sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to take them off the street and help them to get their entitlements and their benefits. We got to be able to take them off the street and help them to get their health issues in check.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just be able to, it just gets so much more than just feeding them. We have to know that we are some of their lifelines.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So we definitely always reachable. We are open for ideas. We always looking for individuals that can bring things into the organization to help us to expand, to help us to continue to do what it is that we do in Baltimore City. And that's really advocating for this population of homeless individuals. And again, we're not that city funded organization or that program. So, we look for the help of others to do what we're doing. So if you're
Mhm.
out there and you want to do that, just give us a call. The holidays are coming. We got families. We even have families in situations that we can't even disclose and talk about because
Right.
they feel like they got to protect their kids or protect their family. But homelessness right now for Baltimore City is about to hit a critical place.
Mm.
And we're dealing with new homeless individuals. I went under the bridge Saturday. I'm like, wow, where all these new faces come from? Even through this time right now of the coronavirus, we're going to be experiencing families and individuals becoming homeless. So
Mhm.
it's something that I truly feel like we have to start building the voices behind so we don't have an issue just really pressing us where we're allowing these people to die on the street.
Yeah. I'll thank you for coming on. And anytime that you need a platform to kind of market your needs for your organization,
Hmm.
please don't hesitate. You can always come on, and I'll message you outside of this as well and see how
Okay.
even I can be of assistance. I'm again, you're right in my backyard. I'm right in your backyard,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
you know I I'm starting
Pack them
to
up.
understand like
Pack
what
some
we
of
need.
pack some of them sweaters up. Bring them shoes over there. My
Right,
guys like
right.
some nice fresh new tennis shoes. Pack them
Mm-hmm.
up. Bring
There we
them
go.
over.
There we
All
go.
right.
So,
That's it.
so I
Call
thank
all
you
your
again.
call all your boys, and be like, hey yo, you still got those shoes and the tennis? You got those Timberlands? Let me get them up off for you.
I
You
got you,
know,
and that's as easy as writing a post and sending out some
that's right.
messages. So
That's it. I tell
I'll
people all the
definitely hit you up when I have a big box full, and I'll bring it around
time.
personally myself. So again, if it's anything that I can help you with, don't be a stranger. Don't feel like you can't do it. And I have other individuals that are have their own stations as well that will be willing to help
Well, I
beyond
thank you.
too.
I thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. I thank your
Hmm.
audience. I thank yourself, and I pray for you and your family just to have a blessing and be really prepared for this holiday to
Hmm.
do what it is that you do. So I
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for having me
Anytime.
on.
Thank you so much. Have a nice
Awesome.
night. Be safe. So that was Miss Christine Flowers. She has an organization that supports and advocates for the homeless population here in Baltimore City. All throughout Baltimore City, you can find her supporting and advocating and giving to homeless individuals. And I also has another organization. I'm gonna see if they can come back on here because it's for veterans specifically, but it kind of collides with the homeless population as well. And it's all about helping and what we can do to further support people, and not just when it's getting cold or around Thanksgiving and Christmas, but one of my and I wanted to say this to her. For me, I remember it hitting home for me. I went to St. Ignatius Loyola Academy, but it used to be down on Calvert and Madison Street at St. Ignatius Church, and that was the middle school I went to, and uh, I went there for the whole 3 years, and I remember they had a homeless shelter on the very top floor, on the fifth floor of that building, of that church, and our school. And uh, we used to see them all the time. We used the same stairwells as they did. And I remember one of these days going up the steps and coming down the steps, we were always told to wait and let them pass and then proceed. And we were doing that. And I remember being in a class of people, and one of my cousins was coming down the steps. And all these people that were in that place were all homeless or some level of homelessness. And it was shocking to me. And part of me, I don't feel like I was embarrassed because I tried to make eye contact with him. And I believe he looked at me and he just put his head down and kept walking. And I felt so bad because often we did our community service for homeless people, and here it is, one of my family members was homeless, and I would not have imagined, somebody in my family not having a place to stay, but it goes deeper than that because it becomes a mental disorder uh, for them, and not necessarily the homelessness, but whatever trauma that they're going through or whatever they're going through can sometimes put them in a state where they don't ask for help or they can't ask for help because mentally they're not all there. And I know this cousin was going through a lot of personally, but this cousin used to have property and have rental property and had money to give to other family members. So to see him in this space, with these other random gentlemen who could have been somebody else's family member, it was hard. And often we look at homeless people as somebody who has come from another place and didn't make it or fell on hard times, but often these homeless people live right on the other side of town or right in the same neighborhood that they're homeless in. That's where they came from. And it's been something that has really been on my mind because whenever I can, I give what I can to individuals out on the streets, without questioning, because I was always taught, spiritually, we don't. It's not our concern where the money ends up, but if we give it in the right intention and we pray that that person uses that money for their greater good, that's all we can do. So stop judging people. We in this neighborhood is a lot of gentrification going on, and throughout Baltimore, and I'm noticing how individuals that look like us are being just as disrespectful to these individuals and not even being concerned that these people may have a mental disorder, that these people may be triggered, that these people may be going through trauma, and how you interact with them. And I've been in situations where I've felt unsafe in situations, but how you address a person makes all the difference in a situation like that. And sometimes they don't know how to communicate. They're used to people throwing things at them and throwing slurs at them and being disrespectful and not giving them the respect that they require. And in a community that we've been in the last 4 years, we have to understand what that feels like for people to be disrespectful to us and not know our situations and not know, who we are and just judge us on the basis of our complexion and our race. But we have to then begin to give that same respect out to others. And I've been waiting to ask her on for a long time. And I finally took that opportunity last week and just asked her to come on and just share a little bit about what she does. And because if you go to her Facebook, I think it's on the bottom of the screen, Christine Flowers on Facebook, you see a lot of her. She goes live a lot. All the information to who she is and what she does is on that screen. So I don't just do what you can. Everybody can't be on her front line, but you can be on your front line and giving resources. And it's not all about dollars. Sometimes it may be your time. Sometimes, as she just suggested, it's not a problem for me to reach out to people and see if I can gather some gently used clothing and such. To be able to take around it because I see the work that she does. I see who she's helping and who she's supporting. And like I said, I had an issue with a business owner in this neighborhood being very rude and getting confrontational with a homeless population. And it was in a matter of minutes, she was there helping to doing what she could do to help the situation. And that type of integrity means a lot to me because we live in a city where you can call the police and not get that type of response or call an ambulance and it take a couple more minutes than normal. But she was there and she definitely puts her money in her mouth put her money in herself where her mouth is. And she doesn't just point fingers. She's there. She's in the midst. And I am kind of shifting what I've been doing in terms of my activism and what I'm capable of doing. And this pandemic has let me know that I could be a radio personality from any address. I can, be a teacher from any address. I can be an artist from any location. and we don't have to stay put where we are. We can navigate and see how we can help others and how we can be of assistance to others. Just do what you can. Um, do the work that is necessary right now. Put yourself out there. Ask what people need for help. Not just asking when you need help, but asking when others need help. Just be there for each other. I've seen a lot of people just, you know, not communicate right now. Because they're doing okay. They're good. So they don't think to say, well, let me call such and such. Let me see how this person is doing. I haven't heard from that person. I haven't been around that person, but just see what people need. Your family. Start with your family, your friends. Before you even go outside of your homes. Um, what does your home need? What does your family circle need? What does your friend circle need? And again, it's not all about money, and I don't think money should always be the ask. But let's do some preventative measures and reach out to people and our friends and our family. And I often do this, but I challenge people to reach out to at least one friend a day or a week or a month. Like start somewhere and just reach out to people. You know, when I often see my friends are in need, I don't even address the need. I just let's go out to eat lunch. And maybe that lunch would be the space where they open up and tell you what their needs are, or just a good. Everybody likes a good venting session, a good clearing out the space session. We all need that from time to time. So allow people to vent. It's not always I can't be absorbing other people's problems, and we are growing into such a selfish space. And your home is fine, but you're not even thinking about how people around you are. And there's always a reason someone has ended up in that space, but it's not always their fault. They often have to take the blame for it and get up and get it together. But stop worrying about how they got there and figure out what you can do to help. Because what you could do is you may have a list of people as resources. You may have a spare bedroom. You may have, a couple minutes out of your day where you can take them somewhere they need to go. Um, I saw a lot of people on social media offering rides to people who needed to get to a polling place. I you know, I hate that this is the only time of year that people feel the need to give of themselves, give of their time, of their money. But it definitely, you know, it's plenty of things you could do. I know the Ronald McDonald House, people can go and donate a breakfast or a dinner to the families that are there. You can cook it there. I don't know how they're handling that now. I know I have gone around to the Franciscan Center a number of times and a number of places, and not just on Thanksgiving. They always need help. And often, all you have to do is contact them and do a volunteer workshop, and you can go around there whenever they need help. And it's very fulfilling. It's something that since elementary school has been a part of my curriculum to do those things. So once I became an adult, it just went with me, and I try to help people whoever I can, or whenever feel. But it's very simple. You can start with your family. You have a family member that needs some help. Right now, I know times is a little bit tough and everybody's holding on to as much cash as they can. But if you can send groceries, we've been getting deliveries every day. So if you can send groceries to a family member who needs it, and it could be in a different state, all you need is their address. Um, and you only have to tell them, just let them, have it. I've had people who, you know, definitely supported me throughout this pandemic because they didn't know what was going on. I've been really quiet and I've tried to, kind of just get through this creatively and by being still and quiet. But I've had people who just randomly, sent me things and sent me lunch, and I've tried to, on people's birthday, send them lunch or something. Just small things equal up to a lot. And yeah. we a day, half a day, not even a half a day, a few hours before election day. And I hope everybody is getting out and voting and doing your civic responsibility, and don't let it end after you vote. You know, a lot of people have already voted. A lot of people mailed in vote their ballots. I mailed in mine. Um, and then a lot of people are going to go tomorrow on the official voting day and vote. But just do your part. On November the 4th, we're going to need you just as eager and just as politically driven as we have been over the last year and a half and so or so. Um, but yeah, just get out and do what it is that you can do from where you are. You know, if you are on the internet, figure out ways you can, get some resources together. If you're a couponer, coupon some things and go send it to, go take those things, those cleaning and home and food supplies to, people in shelters. I'll put the information out for Miss Flowers' organization. She's right here on 25th, between 25th and 26th Street on Charles Street, right next to the Bank of America. Her organization, you'll see the name on the door. Um, but I'll put her information out there so people know how to get in contact with her. And you can also always go to her Facebook page, and there's information on there on how you can donate and such. And I'm gonna end a little bit earlier today because I have some other work that I need to get done. But um, if I could leave not even leave you with anything, but something that has been on me. Just treat people how you want to be treated. Decency and order. Your voice, your vote. Those three things have been in my aura, in my space for the last couple of weeks. And I've just been, every moment I get, I'll say it out loud or I'll write it somewhere on social media or send it in a text to somebody who I think would benefit from that message. And if you're going through something, please, reach out and ask for help. Ask for help if you need it. And that's just this, I know right now love is hard. Like is hard. So I know love is hard, but um, let's just begin to act like a community and begin working towards being a community rather. If you need help with something, there are plenty of resources of people who can help you. Um, if anything, ask somebody if they know somebody who has the resources. Not everybody is looking for money. Some people really need help. So, reach out to those family members that you haven't talked to in a while. You'd be surprised what they have to give you. Or if they have a need that is very simple for you to help them out with, whether it be you giving them a resource or, giving them a couple dollars or buying them some groceries or something like that. But this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Don't forget, we are on every Monday and Friday from 5 p.m. at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tomorrow, I believe Be Exposed Radio is doing a special broadcast starting at 5 o'clock, covering the election. If you have not got out to vote or you haven't voted yet, please, 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 please show up. It probably won't be as many people tomorrow. Hopefully, all the people who have not voted will come out and vote tomorrow. We have set record-breaking numbers here in Baltimore, as well as other cities and states across the country, and people getting out and voting. Please, I don't want to tell people who to vote for, but Biden is our best choice. We cannot handle another 4 years. This country cannot handle another 4 years, no matter what your hip hop artist has told you. We cannot afford another 4 years of Trump. Please get out and vote. No excuses. Or just get out and vote. Take a chair with you so you ain't got to stand up if it's a long line. Bring some snacks with you. Bring your family with you if you need to. Just get out and vote, please. This has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Next up will be Exposed's coverage of the election at 5 p.m. tomorrow, live here on BigSportsRadio.com. Tune in, share it, like it, subscribe, all those things. Peace out, people.